Oh my, Tyrese Maxey is such a goddamn stud. Oh my goodness, it's so electrifying watching Tyrese Maxey do his thing. Just not be afraid of the moment, saying, I want the ball, give me the ball, I want to shoot it, I want to take that three, I want to help this team push the way for the win. And that's exactly what he did tonight. Tyrese Maxey was huge in the second half. What a huge second half for Tyrese. 21 points in the second half, and he finished with 25 points in total. He was so electric in this game. You get James Harden's home debut in the Wells Fargo Center. The Wells Fargo Center crowd was so electric. I was there in attendance, full house, and then you get the mask mandate taken away. It was incredible. It was going to be loud regardless, mask or not, but it kind of felt like without the masks, it was, very, very, very loud. Very. And it was just a great atmosphere to be in. Joel Embiid, even though it kind of felt like an off night for him, he still managed to put up 25-plus points, 27 points in total. Still a great night overall. The first half was a bit sketchy. It definitely was. You kind of feel like that meme where it says, I'm not going to lie, they had us in the first half. But still, just a great second half by the 76ers team. A great third quarter especially. They were killing it in the third quarter. And you kind of figured going into how good the Knicks were in that first half, the way they were hitting their shots, you kind of felt like it was going to even out as the game went along. And it kind of felt like in that first quarter too, well, the first half actually, that, they were getting a lot of fouls called in their favor. The Sixers weren't really getting any fouls called on or against them actually. And, that's what it kind of felt like in the pace in the first half, but the Sixers really stepped up, especially in that third quarter, get off to that big run, hitting a lot of big buckets, Tyrese Maxey especially, and then you close out the game in the fourth, and that's all that matters there. But before we get into all of this stuff tonight, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and if you are new to the channel, I definitely recommend hitting that sub button. I would greatly appreciate that. So if you are looking for all the latest Philadelphia sports news, recaps, and events, this is the place to be at, depending on the outcome, great or miserable depending on the outcome. Also, if you're a current viewer of the channel, I'm grateful for you being here that long and looking to continue that down the road. And if you're looking for any upcoming tickets to sporting events, concerts, whatever you can think of, use the code TTPSPORTS down below for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. So you can get tickets to see Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, James Harden on the court at a Sixers game in the Wells Fargo Center. Definitely can't pass that up. And if you want to see the Flyers and see what they're doing, definitely get some Flyers tickets possibly as well. Also, whenever the hell baseball decides to come back, that's a whole nother topic entirely. And also when football eventually comes back. Free $20 in your pocket, can't pass that up. You can get basically you can use that for a beverage, food item at the arena, and you can't go wrong with that. So use the code TTP Sports for $20 off your first purchase today at SeatGeek. So the Sixers beat the New York Knicks in this little home and home series by a score of 123 to 108. And like I said, the first half was definitely, like I said, a little sketchy. The Knicks, they were basically hot the entire time. It kind of felt like they just could not miss a single thing. That's the way it felt like. You got Randall going off, you got Barrett going off this entire game. Randall finishes with 24 points. Barrett finishes with 30 points. But like I said, when you get into that second half, it kind of feels like it was going to even out eventually. And that's exactly what happened, in my honest opinion. I thought that's what the way it did. But honestly, if you could say even out, because it looked like the Sixers really dominated in that third quarter, which they definitely did. They outscored the Knicks 38-19 in that third quarter, and the Knicks couldn't just hit their shots. So that was also very beneficial to the Sixers team. But going back to that first half, it just kind of felt like the momentum just wasn't there. You get that energy with James Harden getting back into the Wells Fargo Center. You hear Matt Cord announcing the starting lineup. You had James Harden, then Joel, the process, Embiid, basically just everything pumping the crowd up right there. And it just, it was a little bit of, I guess, I don't want to say nerves, or just the energy level was just not there to start the game. I don't know. It kind of felt off a little bit. But, hey, they stepped up when it matters desperately in that second half. And they weren't down by that much going into the half as well. They were only down by, at least like 6-7 points or something like that, 8 points. So they managed to get back to within, a reasonable deficit getting into that half. But it just kind of felt like ever since, going into that for like basically the first and second quarter when they're trying to crack into the lead, they're getting very close to tying it or even taking the lead there, they would, turn over, or they would miss a bucket, or the Nets would go on a run of their own, and that would basically take all the momentum away the Sixers had of trying to even get back into this game, and that's what the first quarter felt like entirely. But hey, that second half was so beautiful to watch. It was. That third quarter was just pure perfection, and Tyrese Maxey, oh my God, just everything Tyrese Maxey is so amazing. This kid is going to be so great. He's so great right now. Just imagine what he's going to, turn into as he gets older and more, tenured in this league. That's just going to be like, man, that's looking a little bit too way down the line, but still, Tyrese Maxey is so fun to watch in the way that he took over this game, the way he uses his speed to get to the basket, to get those fouls, go to the free throw line, and just letting it fly from beyond the arc. My goodness, this kid is just letting it fly. He's getting wide open, or he's breaking guys' ankles and just literally pulsing Hail Marys, and it's still going into the bucket. The kid can't miss. The kid cannot miss. And I saw this on Post Game Live when I was at the restaurant, Chickies and Pete's, eating this. I saw it was like over this course of the past 3 games since James Harden came to Philadelphia, Tyrese Maxey from 3 is shooting above 64%. I think it was like 64.5, 64.6 or something like that. So the kid is electric right now, and the kid is feeling it, and it is a joy to watch, and it's great to see that the kid's not afraid. Tyrese Maxey is not afraid whatsoever. He finishes with 25 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and he also, goes 7 from 12 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. Just an incredible night from Tyrese Maxey. And James Harden finishes with a rebound and an assist shy of the triple-double, so almost back-to-back triple-doubles for James Harden. And it kind of did feel like he was off a little bit tonight as well. Same thing with Joel Embiid. But, even though he's still putting up around his average, he finished with 26 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 8 of 13 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, and 8 of 10 from the free throw line. It still kind of felt off. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but, James Harden just basically doing his thing, all these behind-the-back passes, just finding these guys wide open. I have no idea how the hell he is doing this, but basically the only explanation that I do have is that it's James Harden, and the man is a goddamn wizard with the ball. Goddamn wizard of finding people wide open, and that is exactly what he has been doing ever since he's been in a Sixers uniform, and basically everything he's been doing his entire career in the NBA, especially recently with the passing. One of the best passers in the National Basketball Association, if I do might add. And then Joel Embiid, same thing. It just kind of felt off. It did. Even though he puts up a casual 25-plus points, that's basically what Joel does on a nightly basis. Finishes with 27 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 7 of 15 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3, and 11 of 13 from beyond the charity stripe. And like I don't know, it just kind of did feel off. But that third quarter, basically the entire team was just going off there. Joel Embiid hitting a couple of threes, James Harden doing his thing, Tyrese Maxey just basically taking over that entire quarter. It was just insanely fun to watch. And looking at some other players, Tobias Harris, a little slow. It kind of did feel like they were trying to get him involved more offensively, which it's definitely going to be very crucial getting him more involved because, the past couple of games, it's been kind of a little weird just because, getting James Harden, he's trying to figure out, Tobias is trying to figure out his role in all of this right now. And Tobias was playing great before the trade deadline, so I do eventually think it's going to even out with Tobias and he's going to start playing a lot better down the stretch. But this was definitely one of his better games. There were a lot of moments where it still looked like he was, thinking a little too much of what to do with the ball, where, he has a man in a mismatch and he's trying to, hesitating. Is he going to shoot the ball? Is he going to drive to the basket? And he still had those moments where he was trying to maybe do a little too much, where he was taking on 3 guys at once under the rim and he turns the ball over. So there's still things with Tobias right now that I think he just needs to figure out, and I do think he's eventually going to get better down the stretch. Finishes with 14 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, and 2 of 2 from his only shots from the free throw line. Matisse Thybulle, 10 points in the starting rotation today, played 25 minutes, and the man actually hit his threes. I was like, wow, the man actually hit them. He hit 2 of them today. And in that, was it the first or second quarter where he had that wide open 3? I forget who the pass was from. I think it was from Harden or Tyrese Maxey, but the guy was wide open for like 5 minutes, and he just took his time, just set up the 3, splashed it in there. It was just... And the whole Wells Fargo Center just erupted when Matisse hit that 3, especially one of the other 3s that he had in this game. So it was definitely a better night from Matisse Thybulle. So hopefully he can find a way to build off that consistency and maybe, build off that consistency of trying to hit those 3s and maybe draining them a little bit more. So, yeah, I'm not going to harp on Matisse that much tonight. He did his job. Definitely he did. But to the bench. The best player, honestly, off of the bench today was, Shake Milton. He had his little stretch in that second quarter where he went off for a little bit, got a couple of baskets in a row, like in a span of like 30, 45 seconds or something like that. But then basically the rest of the night, he really didn't do much in 20 minutes. He got finished with 6 points, 3 of 6 from the field, 0 of 2 from 3, and he got 3 rebounds on the night as well. He also got a steal too. Then you got Georges Niang. I thought he was probably one of their better players off of the bench, 6 points, and 2 of those were 3s in 19 minutes. Then you got Danny Green with, he finished with 6 points. He hit 2 3s, but there were like some boneheaded decisions like during that part of the second half. It was just like, I forget what specific instance it was, but I feel like he was trying to pass it back to Niang or he was trying to pass it back to Maxey, and it was just a clear turnover, like bright as day. That was the easiest turnover in the world. We're all like, Danny Green, what the hell are you doing? It's ridiculous at this point. It was just, the bench was, we all know the bench is going to be a major issue, especially come playoff time. And that's still a discussion that you're going to be having night in and night out, basically, until you get into the playoffs and how that rotation is going to work out. But, and especially talking about some other players, Furkan Korkmaz only playing 5 minutes in this game. It was an ugly 5 minutes. A -5 right there, even though you really don't want to look at the plus-minus stats that much, but 0 points in that 5 minutes, 0 of 2 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3. It was very ugly, and he made a very, very ugly turnover as well, and Doc benched him the rest of the game, and rightfully so. And Furkan's going through this gigantic struggle as well, even though I don't believe Furkan is any that good. I know Furkan has his supporters out there, but it's ugly. It's definitely ugly on the side of Furkan Korkmaz, and who knows what is going to happen in that scenario, because honestly, if we're talking about playoffs, I don't believe Furkan should be in the bench rotation at all, just because, he can't play. He's not that good. So that's my whole opinion on that entire scenario. But to stop harping on the negatives, really, the Sixers got a good win, and I feel like that is all that matters from this game. Looking at a couple of team stats right here. So the Sixers, shooting-wise, they were shooting above 50% from the field, 52%, and they were 47.2% from 3, and they basically hit above 80% of their 3 throws. I was sitting there in the stands hoping that one of the Knicks would miss their 2 free throws in a row so you can get those free Frosties from Wendy's, but sadly that wasn't the case. Got close on a couple of them, but sadly none of them would miss both their shots, which kind of sucked. But yeah. And the fouls today. The fouls were, I guess you can say, like, they were even on both sides, 25 and 25. Like I said, it felt like it did even out as you got into the second half. Like, the first half was a lot more in favor of the Knicks with the momentum and all the fouls that were called against the Sixers. But going into that second half, it kind of did feel like it evened out a lot, where the Knicks were getting a lot more fouls called against them, and it just basically was that even throw through one half to the next half. So I guess I'm not going to harp that much, but it kind of felt like there were a lot more calls on the Sixers just from being there in that experience. So when I look at the stats right here, I was like, oh, it was very neck and neck even at 25 and 25. I did not realize that whatsoever. So yeah. Very entertaining game by the Sixers team. That's 3 wins so far in the James Harden era with the Sixers, and I cannot wait to see even more. And it's going to be a very tough stretch for the Sixers team. A lot of great competition coming up if we look at their upcoming schedule so far. So their next game is going to be Friday against the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's going to be a very, very tough matchup. They also play the Miami Heat on a back-to-back on that Saturday night. So that's going to be It's going to be some top competition for this team. It really is. And it's going to really showcase what they are. Even though, like, we're talking about that, like, they're playing some minor competition with the Timberwolves. Even though they're not that bad of a team, they're still, like, I would say more of a tweener team in that standpoint. But then you're going up against the Knicks a couple of times in a row. So even though, like, I don't want to harp on anything like that, but Still, it's going to be a very tough schedule with the upcoming stretch of games. So like I said, you got Cleveland on Friday, you got Saturday Miami, you got Monday Chicago at home, you got Thursday the 10th against Brooklyn, and that's going to be a very tough matchup. Kevin Durant just came back into the lineup for Brooklyn tonight, so that's going to be a very huge game there. So this 4-game stretch is going to be very big for this team. And this, I guess you can say, even though I do believe this is a different team right now with adding the talent that James Harden having that trio of him, Maxey, and Embiid, it's definitely going to be much-watched television. But it's really going to be tested this upcoming 4-game stretch against Cleveland, against Miami, against Chicago, and against Brooklyn. So we're going to see what this team is made of and see how they respond to these very tough opponents in these upcoming 4 games. But I cannot wait for those games to happen. And I want to hear your thoughts on this game, just your thoughts on the experience in general with James Harden, everything, Tyrese Maxey too, Joel Embiid, all those thoughts down in the comment section below. I would like to hear those as always. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. Don't forget to check out the Banner Lines, which I'm a part of. The links are down in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out the links to BrodesMedia, the Flyer.pod merch website, and also Flyers Nitty Gritty. All that good stuff is down in the description below. Don't forget to check those out. And also, like I said at the beginning of the video, the most important thing you can do is hit that sub button, and also use the code TTPSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. And I will see you next time.